There we go. So I think the stream is up on YouTube now. Took me 3 times this morning. So that's actually an improvement over the past few times. Let me get a screen shared up here. All right. All right, so my screen share is up on YouTube, and I'm going to stay on live there, but I'll start going through some stuff. Any other questions? Yeah, the main question is news to watch out for. Yes, we got ADP NFP news this week, and the regular NFP news release. So ADP news releases on Wednesday, and then we have JOLTS job openings tomorrow. But the big ones to watch is going to be Wednesday. We have the ADP non-farm payrolls, and then Friday we have non-farm payrolls. The link is in my bio. Instagram is like 10 seconds late. So the live stream on YouTube apparently is less of a delay. It's good to know for everyone. Yeah, so the link is in my bio. Big earnings week too. Yeah, I don't always look at earnings a ton, only if it's like the big names and stuff. But yeah, that is true. Earnings this week. Let's see here. Start going through this here in just a minute. But yeah, I generally like to be cautious on NFP weeks because of the thinner tape price can move very sporadically. I usually will at least just kind of size down and be prepared, for things to happen kind of randomly and sporadically. It's generally what I do. And I'll usually trade, like, maybe if we can catch a nice setup today or tomorrow, that would be great. And then I probably won't take more trades until after NFP news releases. So like on Wednesday, when the ADP NFP news comes out, I'll wait till after that to find a nice setup that comes out at what time? Like usually 8:30, I think. Yeah, 8:15 on Wednesday. So pre-market, I generally don't trade in the pre-market anyway. And then we have Chicago PMI news at 9:45. So on Wednesday, I'd probably wait until after 9:45 or 10 to look for any setups. Just kind of let some of that kind of craziness get priced in into the market, and then look for a clean setup. And then on Friday, I probably wouldn't even trade on Friday. I already only like to trade in the mornings on Fridays. I don't like to trade in the afternoon. And then we have the non-farm payroll release at 8:30 in the morning on Friday. That may be, unless I see something really clean set up, like around 9:45 or 10, that's probably going to be a day that I just avoid trading. But hopefully today and tomorrow can find a clean setup, and then possibly after the news on Wednesday, find a clean setup. Definitely trying to reduce my trade frequency on a NFP week and just look for those really A+ setups. So sharing my screen here on YouTube. If you guys want to check this live stream out on YouTube, link is in my bio on Instagram for those of you on Instagram. I'll start going through it here in just a minute. Well, it's already after 9, so I didn't post a story so today. Hopefully people are getting the hang of do the live streams on Monday, but I didn't post a story to remind people yesterday, but oh well. Any specific questions that you guys want me to cover? Yeah, I recommend just going to YouTube because I'm going to close out the Instagram sooner, and I'll stay on YouTube. What's your plan today? What are you looking for? Going to go over that in just a minute. I'm sharing my screen on YouTube so I can share the levels, but I'll call it out audibly too. The only thing I trade is ES, the S&P 500 futures, and occasionally, like you guys saw last week, I'll take more like swing trades on SPY or SPX, but I usually do that with options, not futures. Yeah, gonna go over in a second. What what normally do you trade futures? Yeah, I normally trade, what's up, Jason? Welcome. I normally trade S&P 500 futures, the E-mini contracts. I usually trade like 2 to 4 contracts. Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, definitely helps when you guys like and comment and share stuff. That helps the algorithms on Instagram and YouTube, so it reaches more people. I really appreciate that. Especially, I'm not monetizing this in any way. I'm literally just doing this for free to help people out. So, because I trade full time all day anyway, so I'm doing this with my time to help other people that are still learning. All right. So I'll start going into it here on ES prop firms. No, I trade a personal account. So I'll just start going through the levels. The main levels that I'm watching here that you can see from my charts. And I go through blank charts every morning. I have, like, if you look on Thinkorswim in the bottom corner, there's different drawing sets that you can pull up. And I have like my main trading one that I keep my levels for a longer period of time. And then I have blank charts that I like to go to every morning just to kind of have a fresh look. Sometimes you can get so locked into your analysis, like day after day, week after week, and the same levels, that you're fixated on what you think should happen. And so what I like to do is go through every day with blank charts and just kind of look at things from a fresh point of view first thing every morning. So I do that at like 5 a.m. I already did that this morning. And then I kind of come through closer to the market open, like I'm doing right now, and, update my levels and go over my specific trading plan for the day. But the market has been trending up. S&P 500 has been surprisingly resilient. We tested this level around 5,500, which was my target on my SPY call options last week. If you guys missed that, I took that long below this level here at 51.46, and I closed that around 5,500. So it's a pretty large swing trade. Cut a nice chunk, but after we have broken above that and kind of held above that. But obviously, as you can see, after we've broken above this 5,500 area, we've kind of gone more into a consolidation. And let me zoom out to the daily, and let me just pull up a blank so this looks cleaner. But there's a really key point that you can really see right around here, right around 5550 to 5560 area. It's kind of the prior consolidation low. Like if you look at this whole area, just draw a box here. Really from here all the way until the all-time high, we really kind of just consolidated in this area, and then we broke back under it here. Let's see if I can extend this. This is what I'm talking about. So this kind of whole area we kind of consolidated in and then broke down under it. And we're just now retesting it. And we're also testing just above this high on that crazy rally day when Trump announced the 90-day tariff pause. So we're testing a breakout above that level, and we're testing the low of this kind of large consolidation range, which is right around 5550 to 5560 on the ES futures. So that is a super, super key level for me, kind of a point where if we can break above and hold above that level, then I'd be open to longs, probably targeting the 5600 area first, where you can see sellers kind of dropped down here. So 5600 up to this kind of wick high at 5776, but that's a really large range. So I have to pick one area on a scalp to test. I'd probably target around 5600 area. Just get this off here now. But you can obviously see right here, right here, we pivoted around that point. And right here, we pivoted. Come on. Anybody else have kind of a laggy Thinkorswim in the mornings? There we go. Right there. Wow, that shading is terrible. And then we kind of broke under it right here. And then even before that, we kind of made a high here and dropped under it before we broke above. So you can just see this area right here around 5,500 to 5550 to 5560 has been a very key pivotal area. So that's a key area that I'm watching. Then let me drop back down to the 4 hour here. Pull up my levels again. And then the next key area to the downside that we kind of broke out above and held above was this around 5520, I believe it was. So this kind of this range here, that was my target for longs, 5,500 up to this level where we kind of bottomed overnight, 5,520. So the primary setups that I'm looking for going in today is a breakout above this 5,550 to 5,560 level, which we're doing right now in the pre-market. That kind of makes it less favorable to me that we're doing it like 15 minutes before the market open. Usually, nothing is always in trading, right? But if I see a trade setup that I wanted to take place and it happens right before the market open and the market's already on kind of an extended move up, like if you look at this since this drop, yes, Friday, and then we pulled back overnight. Yes, we are making higher lows, and yes, we are making higher highs, but we're doing it right into a key area of resistance, and we're doing it right before the market opens. So I'm not going to be super interested in chasing this thing long right off the get-go. It could just blast and go all the way up here to this, 5,600, 5,620 area. But that's going to just be difficult for me to trade because I'd rather see it pull back first. But the setups that I'm watching would be a breakout and retest above this 5,560 area that holds to get long, probably targeting that 5,600 area. And I'm just giving these general levels. I don't trade specifically off these levels. I'm not like, okay, this level hit, break and retest on the candle chart, and now I'm getting in. No, I look at these as just an area of interest, and then I'm watching the tape. I'm reading the order flow to find my specific entry. And that's how I get my entries. That's how I manage my risk. So let's see here. Yeah, so the first thing, break and retest above that level. And then to the downside, this is almost like a no trade zone for me here between 5520 to 5560. I don't really want to get chopped up. And if today kind of just turns into an inside consolidation day inside this range here, awaiting news this week, then I'll probably just sit out, to be honest with you guys. I would rather wait and put risk on when I see better setups later in the week after news. But to the downside, if we do break strongly below this 5520, I could see a break and retest setup for a quick test down into 5500. And then if we were to break under 5500, strongly with good volume and retest and hold below 5,500 to 5,480 area, then that could be a setup where I take that short on a break and retest short. Okay, let me see here. Actually, this will help me kind of draw this out for you guys. Let me just pull up a snip really quick. So drawing. So this is the setup that I was talking about here, break and retest above that level. And then to the downside, I could be watching out for either one, a break and retest under this level here. Oops. Break and retest under this level here, targeting that 5,500 or 5,480 area. Or if there's really strong selling, it could be a break and retest under that area, targeting, it could be targeting anywhere in this area. This looks like a good target area that also is near this trend line. That would be a pretty strong downside move today, given the bullish context we've had. But we are testing a pretty key area of resistance, so I wouldn't say that's a 0% chance. Then, and it's really gonna depend on how I read the volume and stuff this morning. and how I read price action. But the other thing that we could see if we do get a nice sharp drop would be a bounce off this area and then, target that 55.60 area, or a fake out under this area and target this area. So there's quite a few different setups that are in play today. Oh, the snip that I'm talking about is off the son of a gun. Yeah, it's not sharing the screen, it's just sharing that app. Okay. All right, so let me see. I won't worry about it now, but I'll just draw here. So break above and retest above this 55.60, targeting this area up here, or break below and retest below this 55.20 level, targeting this 5500 area to 54.80, or a strong sell-off that breaks under this and retests under this 54.80 to 5500 area, targeting this trend line area down here. So I would say call it around 54.30s. Anchored VWAP off year-to-day highs at 56.35. Yeah, that could be a good target area to the upside. I don't think I would try to short that, Mike. Just if we got all the way up there on a strong rally, I wouldn't be going against that momentum, but it would be a good area to target. And it also coincides with this key seller area that I marked at 56.24. That general area would be a good long side target. How about if we hold above 55.50 and wait for pullback? Yeah, that's kind of a valid, that's what I'm talking about. So for the break and retest above 55.50 to 55.60 area, call that general range, 55.50 to 55.60. If we break above that area, pull back and hold it with strong buying, that would be of interest for me to take long. If we break below this, hold below that, I'm interested in taking that short, targeting this 5500 to 54.80. Or if I don't see that setup and we strongly break under this area, then I could take that short, targeting this. Now, the last thing that I'm going to mention that I'm watching today is if we dip below this overnight low around 5500, 5520 or 5500, if I see a dip under those areas that gets absorbed strongly and we bounce back above that and hold back above that, then that would be probably a bottom reversal fake out setup that I'd be looking for. And I'd probably look to take that long, targeting a bounce back up into that 55.60 area. The only setup that I'm really kind of put off to today, and likely will just miss if this setup occurs, would be like a top reversal. I'm not really looking for a fake out top reversal up here. Although we're coming into this nice area of resistance, like I pointed out, just how we're kind of moving up here, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then just consolidating up here at this level. That's usually kind of a bullish indication of more upside. Unless, we sell off strongly from this level. I'd rather wait for sellers to really show their hand and then, kind of reverse and break the market structure to the downside, if that makes sense. I don't want to be a first seller up here trying to catch a short at these highs. It just doesn't look high quality, given, we're kind of on an uptrend and then consolidating here at this key area. If we kind of came up here and rejected hard off of it and then pulled back and seeing sellers still reloading, then that's something that I'm more interested in shorting. All right, last couple minutes here. I'm going to drop off on Instagram. I'll stay on for a bit on YouTube. I probably won't stay on as long. Going to be honest, it's been difficult for me to manage the live streaming and trading. And I've just taken, the last 3 Mondays in a row, I've taken L's on the live stream, which, it just happens. That's part of trading. And Mondays can be tricky to trade already. And I'm not saying it's because of the live stream. I just took setups that were either A, good setups and I just took a loss on them, or B, I just took a lower quality setup, which can happen on Mondays. But it is difficult for me to manage. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's just going to take more time and practice getting used to managing both things and keeping my mind focused on trading while also kind of presenting to everyone. I have a long 2 micros at 55, 56. I don't like to get in trades this close to the market open at 9:30, especially on a Monday. I just don't like to personally, but that's just me. If you have something that works for you with that, then keep doing it. I mean, obviously the market is trending up. It looks like we're going to probably break out of this 55-60 area. There's a lot of volume transacting, a lot of buying here. So I wouldn't go against it. If I was going to do something, I'd probably just buy it for a nice pump off the open. But that's just not how I trade. I personally wouldn't do that. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up. So I'm going to drop here on Instagram. If you guys want to stay on, you're welcome to join me over on YouTube. I'll stay on here for a few minutes, probably maybe till around 10 or so. May or may not take a trade. We'll just see how it develops. So, all right, guys. Welcome to join me on YouTube and the drop off on Instagram here. Thanks for joining. See you guys. All right, get this out of the way on the screen. Let me throw this on charge actually really quick, guys. No, I'll do it after. All right, so you guys know the plan today. The other thing is, like I have mentioned, we have higher impact news coming out later in this week, and it's Monday, so again, important to stay patient and wait for really good setups. Do you restart Bookmap on the open? I don't restart it, but I do generally clear my DOM Pro, the depth of market. I clear all the orders because I want to see the orders that come in after 9:30 to gauge my levels, and I don't want to add too much confusion with all the overnight because I usually open. Or all the pre-market. I usually open Bookmap around like 5 in the morning when I start my analysis early in the morning before I go for a run. So my Bookmap is usually open since like 5 a.m. How do you see absorption on Bookmap? Usually just large orders that do not move the market in the continued direction. So if I see a large amount of like buy orders, but the market does not continue to move up, then that's something that I will watch. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on Bookmap. No. So I'm just going to put it on Bookmap here. You guys know the plan and levels. I'll probably not respond to questions until kind of after the trading session. If nothing's happening, then I'll pay attention to it. But don't expect an immediate response from me in the chat for questions until after trading. Is it easier on Footprint? It just depends. I like having both views. If I had to pick one, people ask me all the time if I had to pick one, Bookmap or the Footprint, then I would pick Bookmap. I just think there's a better visual and a lot of the same information that you can see on the Footprint, you can just see on the DOM Pro. So I just cleared my DOM Pro on Bookmap, which you guys do not see on Bookmap. It's off to the side over here to the right. It doesn't let me share both. So nice little sell pump coming in here. We again kind of have double topped now on this 55, 59 level, like right at the open here. Drop my charts into some different time frames for the intraday session. Usually lately, I've just been looking at the 2-minute and the 15-minute charts on an intraday basis for trading. So it's a tricky spot because we are above that 55.50 level, right at that 55.60 level. We're pulling back, but we've kind of just double topped right at that 55.60 area. If we get a nice breakout above that area and then a little bit later in the session pull back into it, that would be more interesting to me. But I think pretty much the same thing the last 3 Mondays has occurred, where I've kind of waited to take a setup, and there's been like a nice setup in the first couple minutes that I didn't take, and then I ended up taking small losses later in the morning after that. So it's kind of annoying. I generally like to be patient on a Monday morning and wait for things to develop. But the last 3 weeks, that's kind of bit me, and missed a good setup early, like in the first couple of minutes, which I don't like to do, and then took a small loss after that. So not gonna lie, kind of on an annoying Monday streak here the last 3 Mondays. But that just happens. That's just how trading goes sometimes. You don't want to change things up too drastically just because you have, something unfortunate happen a couple times, even if it's a couple times in a row. You do want to like review and see if there's something that you're doing wrong, but that's just the nature of trading, because, probabilities and such. Flip a coin, there's going to be periods where if you keep flipping a coin 100 times, you're going to just flip heads 4 times in a row sometimes. It's just how it is. So had that nice little drop and then a really nice pump now, breaking pretty well above this 55.60 area now. So now this is going to get more important to watch here. If any pullbacks get defended in this area. Somebody asked earlier, what does trapped sellers or absorption look like? See this large selling right here off the open that didn't really move the market down, and then we get this large sell order here and then bounce right off of it. This would be absorption. This would be absorption followed by strong buying. So you'd want to, if this breakout is strong for upside continuation, you would want to see this absorption and this strong buying hold on a pullback here to rally up higher. But if it doesn't hold and we just quickly, sharply drop right back under it, which can certainly happen in the first few minutes after the open at 9:30, and that's why I'm often very cautious trading, the first couple minutes after the open. You want to watch out for that. I don't see any like yes, this is absorption, but I don't see any like really significant orders or anything right yet. So far, this is pretty choppy and wicky up and down, which is what we were watching out for. Stocks opened lower. Good to know. ES has been pretty resilient despite the weakness in some of the semiconductor names and stuff. But obviously, if there's too much just weighting it down, longs are just not going to play well. But when SOX and other semiconductor I know SOX is ETF for semiconductors, but when a lot of those names that are lagging start to bounce, and then you see ES that has had relative strength, that's a good time, to take it long. So coming back into that level, 55.50s, that bounced. See how this develops here. It's not looking very strong, to be honest. We bounced all the way to 55.70 there, and then just immediately wicked back down. So I wouldn't consider that like a strong breakout above this 5,500 to 55 or 55.50 to 55.60 area, because we kind of wicked over it and then immediately came all the way back. See if this holds here. There is kind of on the DOM here around 55, 55, kind of a stacking order there. There was a 200 lot order, and now there's another 200 lot order, which you can see here and here. So let's see how this reacts here. Kind of bouncing off that again here. So may take a smaller size stab at this here if this holds. It's just not the cleanest breakout and retest. But the risk is pretty low down here. Let's see if we get one more little pullback here and see if we get any kind of significant orders that hit it. We're still seeing absorption here around this 55, 55. Still something's going on here. But yeah, something's getting worked here. Obviously, you can see this test, this test, this test. But do we break under it, or do we keep holding that area? That's also right around the highs of Friday, kind of holding there. I'm going to take, let's see if this dips here. Took a stab at this 5.9. I'm going to trail my stop loss here as soon I want to see it, this jump right now. Otherwise, I'll take it back off at 5.9 and see if it pulls back more. This is literally right the second type of setup here. Yeah, closed it. Closed it there. Let's watch this. Kind of just consolidating in this tight little range here. So maybe better to just wait. This is still bouncing here and getting worked off this 55, 55 area. So let's definitely watch this area here. All right. Jumped back in long here at 61, and I trailed my stop loss to break even already. I really want to catch this like right away. If this is really a buyer getting worked here at the 55s, we should get a nice rip right off of it without a whole lot of hesitation. So going pretty quick with my stop loss trail. Really want to see this get above 70 and break out fast. If it doesn't, then this is just not the move right now. It's kind of that momentum break above 55.60 that I mentioned, and we kind of held those 55s, and clearly something was getting worked there. So I'm letting this ride right now. Up almost 10 points. I'm going to close half. Yeah. I'm out half there for 10 points. 9 points. So I'm out half of that trade for 9 points, and I have my stop loss still at break even on the second half at 61. And I'm just going to hold this. Get a nice move up towards 5,600. That would be great. This is no risk runner at this point. Sorry, I was in the zone there. So if I wasn't super clear about exactly what I was watching, kind of was zoning in on that. But let me show you on Bookmap what I saw here. So this 55 60 area, 55.50 to 55.60 that I mentioned, we broke above that, we pulled back, and then we saw larger absorption here. And then on these subsequent pullbacks, we saw weaker selling. So right here, I think around, I'll have to go back and watch the replay, but I took one attempt like right here around 58, I think. I'll have to go back and watch the retrade. And as soon as we broke above that with this strong buying, I trailed my stop loss and I got stopped out right here for break even. And then on that wick, I saw this weaker selling again. I got back in here at 61 as soon as I saw this large buying here with just a really tight stop loss under 59. And as soon as we broke out above that, I trailed my stop loss to break even again here at 61. So I was just being really, really risk averse. And now on this breakup here above the highs, when I was up about 10 points, I just half the trade. And now I'm just holding the other half with break even risk. If we get a nice breakout here above 55.70, that would be awesome to just run and test that 5,600 area. Let me look at my charts here, see if I can come up with a more precise area that I want to look to close this. Hopefully that was clear for you guys. Sorry if I wasn't super clear in the moment, because I was just kind of locked in on reading that. We're seeing a little bit of resistance here. It would be great to see a nice strong pop above this level. Otherwise, if we don't, I might see about closing this early. Oh yeah, come on, let's break above this. Some absorption stuff being worked here, so might close this. I'm up 14, 15 points here. Kind of got my finger on the trigger. Like to see a nice strong break above that. Again, this was like a 2 or 3 point risk that went to break even risk almost immediately when price moved in my direction. So I'm already up like 3 or 4 R on the trade. Let's get a nice little pump here. I don't really like how this is kind of resisting here, but I'm going to try to be patient because I already took profit. Oh yeah, something's kind of getting worked here on the sell side. Definitely want to see this breakout right now, or I'll just flatten. Nice pump, nice pump. Zoom out so you can see this a little more clearly. Yeah, this is, you can see it zooming out here. This is kind of that large absorption I was just seeing. We did break above it, so I want to see it hold above this 74, 75 area. People ask me what time frame I look at on book. I'm kind of seeing it. I kind of zoom in and out depending on what's going on. So let's just get one nice pump and I might close this. All right. I'm not going to get too greedy here. I'm going to close it right there and call it a day. A nice early Monday. So I was just up, I closed that up 17 points at 77 there. Yeah, 1775 America. No, 1776 America. What? I closed it there. The reason is I'm just seeing a lot of absorption here and it's just kind of slowing down. This was like literally a 2-point risk scalp. Up 16 points. I closed the first half for 10 points. I closed the second half for 16 and a half points. So I just made what I don't have P&L ups because it distracts me from my trade, but 20, I can pull it up, a little over $1,000 on like a $200 risk in a couple minutes. So that's a nice way to start the week. But you can kind of see, like zooming out here, this is what I'm talking about. Yes, we're seeing a lot of buying, but it just kind of froze here. Like this was a 2-point risk scalp. I wasn't trying to catch like the whole daily rally, 2-point risk scalp. I got in at 61. I was going to stop under 59. So 2-point risk scalp and I'm up 16 points. I'm seeing absorption. I don't have a super key level up here other than that 5,600 level, which is a large move to catch on a 2-point risk. This thing could easily pull back below this consolidation low before making another move up. So it's literally 949. I made over $1,000. So I think that's a win for today. Now I can make a recap for you guys and pretty much be out of my office and done for the day before noon. Sound good? You guys want to see a recap reel on this trade? I mean, you watched it in real time. Hopefully you guys were watching your own charts to see how that looked on. Whoa. Yeah, there's the news too. Look at that. That would have probably got me out, guys. 62, 63. It wouldn't have hit my break-even trailed stop, but I don't know. Something just happened. That's the times that we're in, man. The times that we're in, you're like at the mercy of the next tweet or something that comes out. But the tape is thin, guys. This is exactly what I talked about in the pre-market this morning. We have NFP news later this week, and this is what happens. I think they call it like a tape bomb. The tape is thin. I spotted this absorption here, so I closed the trade. And then we just took like 20 minutes to get up here, and we came all the way back in, I'm saying like 20 minutes since the market opened to grind up here. And we reversed it all the way back down to the 60s near my entry in like 1 second. So that's what I'm saying. You kind of got to identify those pieces of context. Like, we know we have NFP news later this week. The tape is thin. Let me take a quick scalp and not try to catch like the whole daily range move and get out and enjoy my day now. You know what I mean? We saw really clear signs of absorption here on these 55s. We were right at that key level at 55.50 to 55.60 that we wanted to see a break above and hold. Although this wasn't the cleanest break and hold right here, we kind of dipped back below that again. This is where reading the tape is so powerful. Look at this on Bookmap. If you look at a candle chart, what about that would have told you to take a break and retest setup right there? Probably not much. But reading the order flow, we could clearly see this activity right here around 55.55. We waited for a good confirmation, took it long here with a 2-point risk, and we got 16, 17 points out of it. Trump opened his lips. I don't have my Trump news pulled up. That's my mistake. I kind of got into this live stream and kind of didn't pull up all my news sources and stuff. That's all good. Anybody else catch anything? I'm done trading for the day now off that. But I will answer any questions you guys have really quick here. Bad NVIDIA news. Yeah, I'm purely looking at price action and order flow because I'm going to see it in the price action and order flow before it's a headline on the news. Rinse and repeat, Tony. Yep, every day, man. Every day. I'm glad you guys got to be along for this live because it's a different feel, like seeing it in the moment, identify it and take a trade on it versus, obviously there's a lot of learning value in the recaps, but when you can really get a sense for how this is developing real time when you don't know what's going to happen next, it's just a probabilities game. Anybody have any questions or anything you want me to cover before I wrap this live stream up? I'll film a recap on the trade, and I got a lot of requests for other things to go through. Yeah, this is my first time watching you trade live and love the way you walk through it all. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so we had pre-market analysis around this area. We had real-time confirmations that we watched live together and took a trade off of. And what else? Yeah, I mean, that's it. You do your analysis, you come up with a plan, and then you watch real-time confirmation, price action, and order flow to see if that confirms your plan or if it invalidates your plan. And if it invalidates your plan, that's just as valuable as if it confirmed your plan, because now you know, okay, that was wrong. So what's the next course of action that the market could take? It's just as valuable to know when you're wrong as it is to know when you're right. Stream was very helpful. Awesome. Glad it was helpful for you guys. Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, not a lot of continuation there. Come all the way back to 61, and that was kind of the feel that I got just based on this initial break and retest here, how we kind of broke out and then we came all the way back, and it was like, ooh, thin tape. So that's why that was what was in the back of my mind about the current market conditions when I was managing this trade real time. That's why I was going super quick break even with my stop loss to manage that trade, because and this is the reason, guys. There's nothing, if we quickly wick back below my entry and I get stopped for break even, there's nothing stopping me from re-entering that for a better price really quick. That's just the way I trade. I like to scalp super quick. I know, like, in the invest-to-trade community, Carmine doesn't do that quite so aggressively like I do. He kind of likes to sit back and hold it, and he holds a lot larger wins than I do, to be fair. But I like to be super defensive, especially in these kind of conditions when I'm sensing this is kind of thin. And, I took that first break-even loss, but I got a perfect re-entry and got the win and minimized my downside. I had zero downside today. Took a break even, and then I took you know, a 10 point and then 16 and a half, almost 17-point win. And if that would have, so when I got in here and it moved in my favor, if I would have got wicked out again here, I would have got out break even. And then I could have looked to see if I could get in at these 55s where we saw that activity and then put a stop loss just under like 53, 54. So it would have just given me an even better entry if I still confirmed that activity and then got in. But instead, like I said, based on how I was reading this in real time, we saw that absorption, we saw this low volume pullback. I got in right here at 61. My initial stop loss was just right here under 59. And then as soon as we broke out, I trailed to break even because just look at the structure. We kind of consolidated, lower volume pullback, and then we broke above. When you see that structure form, like I wouldn't want to see the structure fail. You know what I mean? So it's not just that price moved in my favor. It moved in my favor and we kind of shifted the structure, which was the same thing that kind of happened on my first entry. I just got in a little earlier. And if I would have had my stop loss here at 55, this filled at 56. It didn't quite hit my stop loss, but I could have got stopped out for 3 or 4 points there and then re-entered, and that would have sucked. So I got out break even on that and I got right back in. So I took 0 on that and then took the win. That to me is how I like to manage scalps in these conditions. But you have to know how to different trades in different conditions. If it's more of an intraday day trade, if it's more of a scalp, you have to kind of build all those things together with experience over time to know what you're looking for and to know how to trade it. All right, that was my rant. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. I think that's it, guys. I'll film a recap on this trade. Thanks everyone for being here. It was a nice win this morning. Hopefully some of you guys were able to spot a trade of your own or use some of this analysis that I shared to take your own good trade. That would be awesome. If you did, drop a comment on the recap when I film it. Let me know. And I will see you guys live next Monday. Probably have more recaps coming this week. This is a nice way to pad the wallet going into NFP week where funky things can happen. So with that, thank you all for being here, and I will see you all. DM me if you have any questions on Instagram. I always answer as many DMs as I possibly can, and I try to provide as much value as I can to help people. And see you guys next Monday. Peace.